Hello everybody, JBuzzsaw79. I'm doing something a little bit different here. Presenting my build because, well, there's, again, unless you're under a rock, no first edition X-Wing really, let's be honest. So I'm going to use the yet another X-Wing squad builder for potentially the last time here, as they will have their own X-Wing builder. And this will be me showing the few lists I have prepared for the Store Championship coming up at my locals, and the builds I'm looking at. The first thing is here that you should know about is I really want to use Director Kernick. In order to use Kernick, you have to put him on a ship that takes a crew. And in this particular build that I'm doing of the four I'm looking at, I did not want to put him on like a whisper or anything. So really what you're looking at then is you put him on what? You got Lambda, you got the Reaper, and you got the Decimator. Really. I suppose you have the Upsilon shuttle, but so I looked at, first of all, the Decimator, but most of what I see from the Decimator is basically, since it so many points, you're looking at basically a 50 to 60 point Decimator, and that's it. Which, if you put something else in there, you're really scrimping points by. And so I chose not to do that. You could do the Upsilon shuttle, but ain't bad. I chose, and this is only just because of me, since they have gone ahead and tried to separate both the First Order and Rebellion stuff, I guess, or whatever it's called there. But trying to separate the genres away from each other. So I thought, well, sure, I'll do the same. So that's kind of the reason I chose not to do that. Also, really, at the end of the day, the Epsilon shuttle and the Lambda shuttle are kind of the same. I mean, really, you get a little bit better dial, but you're paying more for the points. So the Upsilon shuttle is kind of the midpoint between both the Decimator and the Lambda shuttle. For me, the Lambda shuttle has a kind of a horrible dial. Second edition could be a little better since you get that rear arc, so I mean it might be more viable. So long and short here, basically, is I decided eventually then to go with just the TIE Reaper, because the first thing I wanted to do was to play with the title on it, which is the Advanced Alons, which gives you the Speed 3 banks. They're white. We got a boost, though. To me, this is no problem. It gives extra maneuverability and lets you make which are normally red maneuvers into white. So now you only got really the stop and a hard 2 to really worry about by doing that. And you can just do really a 3 bank, and then, or excuse me, a 1 boost, and then into a 3 bank, and essentially made a 2 turn. If that's too fast for you, you can always do again the 1 bank boost that you have to do, and then do a 2 bank maneuver, and you've essentially still turned one way or the other without having to do the hard red 2 that's on the dial there. Of course, the Alons for themselves are 0 points, and for the Reaper, you can go with these other pilots here. Start at the bottom, I suppose. If they have no focus evade, you may turn a blank or focus to a hit, which is really good. But I wanted to free up extra points because I didn't want the Reaper to be the major offense or a larger offense. I wanted to try to spread out. I wanted to run at least 3 ships, with the other 2 being the main things, and having the Reaper be what it's meant to be, more of a support action base. The captain there, if they're jammed, you add an evade. I don't know. I'm still having problems with that. I mean, basically, if I suppose they try to reposition, you can kind of screw them that way. But if they already have tokens on, okay, suppose I come in and I take a focus and a target lock. Okay, you jam both of them. Great. Now you've wasted your action to put jams out, and you've wasted their modifiers. The last name pilot for this is Visor. As I say that, when it executes a maneuver, it's at range 1, it does not overlap, you assign out one of your tokens. Well, why the hell would I fly that close? I mean, it's not horrible again. So we're going to stick with base Scarf base pilot for the ship here. So then in the build, at least in this build, since I chose to take the Reaper and wanted to basically not take Whisper in this particular build, I wanted to do something different. So then my question became, what do I want to do then? So eventually I went through and landed on the TIE Advanced and thought, well, gosh, we'll take Vader, and I ended up doing for that there, the title gives you the system slot, and it's basically 4 less is free essentially. And what happened then, as I was reading through this stuff, I picked up Accuracy Corrector, which is 0 points then. When attacking, when you modify, you may cancel all results and then add 2 hits. You cannot modify the dice again. So why did I do this is basically if you put, and I forgot to put it up here, we'll do Kernick here now. Where the hell is Kernick? There he is. Alright. So this is Director. He allows you to basically put the optimized prototype on, which is over here now. You can increase your shield by 1. When performing an attack, you may spend 1 die result to remove a shield, and after you do a primary attack, friendly ship at range 1 to 2 gets a target lock, essentially. That's equipped with the Director. So what does this mean? Well, my thought was simply that, okay, so with TIE Advanced, as long, and with most TIEs generally, you only have a 2 dice attack. So the problem with Vader is people try to have to use 1 action, get a target lock, and then can't use it to try to push that crit through. So rather than do that, my thought was, if you roll 2 dice and you spend your die result, it doesn't matter what it is, blank focus, you don't care, you spend it, well, now all of a sudden that you've spent it, you take a shield off, you cancel your last die. Again, this can be done at range 3, but you cancel the other die, you get 2 hits. Now, what's the repercussion of that? Well, now suddenly Vader here, when you assign the optimized prototype, gets an extra shield. So now he's running 3 health, 3 shields with 3 evade dice, which is essentially a better version to me of a defender. Yeah, you don't get the nice K turn, but then it's Vader. So you get to do actions anyway. So next thing came to me was going, okay, well, if we get 2 actions, which I love the idea behind it, but engine upgrade, because then Vader now has barrel roll, boost, to position himself to where he needs to be. He can also evade and focus up to, push through that side of things also. So suddenly Vader's liking, I think, where this is at, because range 3 is still potentially doing 2 damage without much effort. He's fully tanked up, and once they get within range and you get your Reaper involved, he can get the free, I'll move down a little bit here, free target lock. So at the end of the round, now you have a target lock from Reaper and Kurnik. You've dealt at least one, I say one damage because that's basically what it is. And, if you can rip off shields and remove all the shielding with like Vader, then you smash, hopefully with the Reaper. That's my thought there. I mean, so I'm looking at this and I go, okay, you got 40 points left. What can I do with 40 points left on this ship to finish making it even better? And so I don't want to run a missile because I'm relying upon this combo here. So Vader was one, I think, to get the shot in as soon as he can to get things going for him. So I would add Veteran Instinct to make Vader an 11 now, since apparently in 2nd edition it's not as important to me because they've kind of scaled everything back. So Vader will be a 6, and there's no way that I've seen so far to increase the initiative in 2nd edition. So anyway, and then the other ship that I wanted to add in is none other than the Alpha class, because really, let's see which one it is here. This guy. When you receive a weapons disabled token, if you are not stressed, you may receive a stress to remove it. And I was kind of farting around this guy on and off for a little while, and giving him the, where is it? Advanced Slam? Yes. So after performing a slam, if you do not overlap, you may perform a free action on your action bar. So I'm looking at this going, okay, so you can make the slam and get an action. Alright, so I do a hard 2, do another hard 2, I've gone 180, and so now my weapon is disabled, but I can go ahead and take a target lock or a focus and then remove the weapons disabled, take a stress instead, basically to set myself up for next turn, and take a shot then with this guy. And of course then that means I don't like running the missile platform on this particular ship. I prefer running here the cannons. So I took that, and then my favorite cannon of all time is still the Mangler. It's 3 dice. Hit becomes a crit. And so my next thing is like, well, 8. I have a few points left to spare on him. So I would be choosing to take the other cannon slot here and take the linked battery. Allows you to reroll 1 dice. So that way, hopefully, when I'm rolling 3 dice with the Mangler cannon here, I would get at least 2 that are eyeballs, hits, or crits. Kind of a combination I'm looking for. And that allows me to roll the blanks or some kind of thing like that. I mean, it is 2 points, and I only get to re-roll the cannon or the primary anyway, so it just seemed to fit for me. And then for my other one here, I took Trick Shot, which, if you're obstructed, you get to roll additional attack die. So on the engagements, I hope to leave this Alpha class starship kind of lay back a little bit and sit around and set up for the long range shots through debris as people come in. And then, depending on obviously how it goes, you can do advanced slam, turn 180, and take a shot back through the asteroids as they kind of are coming about to come back in. So I think he gives you some really interesting options. 2 devices to defend with, so I mean, if you roll well enough, you have a decent chance to dodge an attack coming back. If it's from their primary, you're looking at 3 dice for defending with, as well as the fact you'd have 7 hit points and a focus if you don't spend it, hopefully, with a decent roll. So that I think is really nice. This leaves us with 94 out of 100 points. And so as we're looking at this here, essentially, sorry, I'm looking at my build here for the other. Oh yeah, this is still a tie, and so we only get 1 dice stored, but since it technically qualifies as a tie, I'm putting light frames on for 2 points more, giving us another dice most of the time, which I think is key. And there's a lot of ships with 3 dice attacks, so you have 3 dice for defense then, because you get 1 base plus lightweight frames plus the range increment plus if there's objects in the way. I mean, depending on what's firing at you. If it's a heavy laser, this thing could roll as many defense dice as a heavy laser. Well, I take that back because that would be right. But I mean, you get the idea. 4 dice attack. Potentially this thing can roll 4 dice to defend with on essentially a shuttle type vessel. I think is pretty damn impressive, in my opinion. And that puts us at 6 of 100 then to be doing this with. And you know, I'm gonna just look at this and I'm going, well, you know, I could spend 2 or 3 points more on getting something else in there. And again, I don't know if this will work or not, but my thought is, since they apparently want me to jam with this freaking guy, we will jam at range here. So we'll throw the ISB slicer on, so when I perform jam against an enemy ship, you may choose a ship at range 1 of that ship that's not jammed and jam it. Now, why? As we saw that to the side. In locals, and I've seen it a couple other places too, various parts online and whatnot, but there is one player in particular who has this habit of basically anything that's not generally like first or second in any tournament as far as system opens or things of that sort, he doesn't, like, he cookie cut plays them and that's it. So he has found a harpoon list running the one M12 Captain Jostin or whatever, and who is the other guy? My mind is blanking out. I can't remember the third runner. But anyway, it's essentially it's 3 scum. All of them at least have 1 harpoon missile shot, and he hammers them all in to use. So the biggest thing I can see to do is to try to take away some of that by, if I jam, perhaps removing blue target locks, so maybe it wouldn't be harpoon, for example, could be something. And he's running VIs on those, so he has 2 initiative 10s. So again, if I could survive the first 2 harpoons, hopefully with this list, for example, You kill Jostro or whatever, try to focus him down to kill him, and have, potentially 2 crippled chips or 1 dead chip to re-engage what's left in that build would be the idea here. So at 98 points, here's what you get. And again, giving Vader here the optimized condition token again down here to give him the 3rd shield. Roll 2 dice, cancel 1, knock off the shield, cancel the 2nd dice to make it 2 hits, allowing him to double tap as far as engine upgrade, a barrel roll, or take evade, focus, and then just eat shots to the face if he has to, while being hit with this mangler, up to a 4 dice mangler from the back line that has a pseudo target lock with modifications, and then potentially more here as we look at the Reaper. So yeah, this is one of my builds I'm looking at for the Store Championship at my locals. This is again J Buzzsaw 79.